Well, hi guys. Things might look a little different. I'm using my iPhone 15 Pro I just got as a camera here because I only have one camera body now, which is pretty much going to be stuck doing photography while we do a new Coffee Anywhere video here in the UP. So I'm in Ishpeming, that's where I live. I'm actually parked at my house right now, and we're going to go about a mile south to Lake Angeline. It's been snowing. It is cold. It's a little wet too. It's the end of March here now, so things are starting to turn springy, but we got a snowstorm this morning and it inspired me to get out. So I'm gonna get out and we're gonna take you along for the ride, take some pictures, and make some coffee. Well, here we are. I don't know if this is going to sound very good simply because I'm using the iPhone's microphone, and I do have a mic that I started to use at the beginning of this video, but I looked outside and there wasn't wind. The wind did make the audio on this iPhone a little hard to listen to on some stories I did for Instagram a couple weeks back, but seeing as there's not a lick of wind, I'm going to chance it today. If it don't sound good, I'll figure something out, but you can bear with it today. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty out today. Snow is sticking on all the branches. It's a kind of a condition that I don't get to chase too often. But it happened to be Saturday. I'm not working today. I saw the snow coming down. It was thick. Lake effect stuff. So I got everything packed and ready to go. We are going to get to the coffee. I am excited about that. And I'll just fill you in on how things have been since moving up here while I take my little walk. All right. Let's get through this. Okie dokie. Good. So, back in December, I was hired to be the roaster for Dead River Coffee. This is a coffee shop I've loved for a long time, and if you've watched the last video or two, you probably already know this. Let me climb this little hill. Since then, I have been roasting, figuring out roast schedules, delivering coffee to local customers, getting my hand away from the camera, and really just enjoying it. Haven't had a ton of time for photography, but I have been tasting lots of coffee. Boy, it's pretty out. And today, I brought some, what did I bring? I brought our new Nicaragua bean. Now, Dead River doesn't cycle through different beans like I used to as quickly with as much frequency. When I was self-employed doing this, I was often buying something new every time I had to make a purchase for beans, and roasting it, tasting it, and delivering it to people, allowing them to taste something new all the time. And that's fun. But when you scale up, you have to be a little bit more conservative with how you do business, really, in the sense that you can't change things all the time, and there's more risk involved for sure. There's got to be more consistency, and so we do have like a dozen different bean options. So it's extra exciting when we get to put something new on the shelf, and that's what we did. In fact, this was a bean that a new account helped us pick. I roasted a few options for them. This is a restaurant in town in Marquette, and it's Donkers. If you're local to Marquette or have been in the area, you probably have heard of Donkers. So now Dead River Coffee is supplying coffee for Donkers, and this is a Nicaragua bean. For that area, it's a pretty acidic coffee, in a kind of brighter way with like orange citrusy notes. It's not the most acidic coffee because for being a 1200 meter bean and us roasting it to a pretty solid medium level, it doesn't present with the most, bitey acidity, but it's there and I enjoy it a lot. So I'm gonna pull some espresso with it. And with me today, I brought the Wakako Mini Presso and the Jet Boil. I also brought 3 different lenses and my tripod, along with the A7 IV, so my back is weighed down with some gear. So I'm just walking until we find a good spot to maybe do some photography, and at some point, we'll brew some coffee. I'm really excited to try to put the Nicaragua through the Mini Presso. That thing always impresses me. We've got birds out today. I'm glad I brought the wildlife lens. I don't know if I'll actually use it for what's out here, but exciting. All right, I guess we'll continue on. I should probably mention that Lake Angeline is a place I scouted a couple of weeks ago, and it seems to be pretty good for wildlife photography potential in the summer. As the name implies, it's on a lake, and wherever there is good, fresh, clean water, usually you can find some animals. I'm not seeing any tracks around me today, but lots of birds. And my intention is to come back here with regular frequency to get a understanding of the ecology as far as wildlife is concerned. On this trail, I don't know if you can see behind here vaguely, there's a lake back there, snow covered at the moment, and this trail goes for roughly a mile on the south side of the lake, spanning from west to east, and as you go eastward, you climb elevation, not much. It's like maybe 70, 80 feet at the end of it above the water. So you start at the water near the boat launch, and then you end up with a good viewpoint over the lake. Now there's always these trees, but there are a couple spots that allow access down with a narrow path to the water line. And I'm sure there's other places I could explore. But this is a good start. It's quiet out here right now, and that's kind of how I wanted it today. So we'll continue on. I'm getting the sense that if I do any photography today, it's going to be either really minimalist or really chaotic. I see lots of branches covered in snow with just snow in the background. So I'll show you guys this little scene. I might return to it, maybe with a longer lens, to cut out the surrounding chaos. But there's some interesting little pieces of composition I might be able to whip up. Yeah, let's see this. So we have that little tree that would be over the water, right at the, the edge of the water, reaching over. And then beyond that, to the left there, we have an island that sticks up over the water, some trees on it. That's a little less interesting to me than that little guy right there, a bundle of trees. Now with the really long lens, I might be able to isolate that completely with just snow behind and around in that composition. Maybe a square format or something, but it could get a little tricky. I think I'm going to return to it. Just making a mental note. Yes, just lots of either chaos or minimalism, depending on how I frame it. I haven't taken the bag off yet. I kind of just want to get to a composition that I know I'm gonna work with, sit down with it for a while and take my time. I have to be careful where I step too. Like I said, it's getting springy. There's more water, whoa, in certain areas. So, stepping through little pockets of ice to find maybe water or maybe nothing underneath that ice. Playing a little game of roulette with every step, but I'm on an actual trail, not on a creek or anything, so I shouldn't end up getting wet, but crunching on the ice below me is a little unnerving. Ugh. Okay, maybe it's a little wet. Just got to get through this little section, I suppose. Oh, God. Oh, geez. I promise, it's not a creek, it's a trail. I just had some type of thick, heavy bird that was on the ground notice me and not appreciate me walking down the trail, and it fluttered away. It was able to pick up about 2 or 3 feet off the ground. I'm thinking maybe a grouse or something of that nature. Had a pretty quick wing beat, and you could almost feel it. I was about maybe 10 feet from it. It was up on this ridge behind me, up there. Just fluttered off. Didn't get a good look at it, but he was pretty round, about grouse size. So there's stuff out here. And a second grouse just flew off away from me. I got a better look at it. Definitely looked like a grouse. The size of one. Probably more like 6 feet away from me this time. Maybe it was the same one, but it didn't look like this was the direction the first one headed. So I'm kind of counting it as 2. Exciting. Okay, this wasn't a surprise to me. There is a downed tree on this trail. Managed to get around it last time I was here, but I didn't have all this stuff on my back. Nor was there all this snow. But we will manage. Whoa! We will manage. Jeez. Okay. See? Totally fine. Okay, so I'm about 3/4 of a mile into this trail. I am exactly at the point where I stopped and turned around the only other time I've been here. So this is now unknown territory to me. But there's a cool smaller lake over this way that I really wanted to see if I had access to. Probably not the best idea to do that when everything's covered in snow, but I know where I'm going, I think. It's not too far off the trail. So I'm actually just continuing down the trail to see if there's a more official split turn to see if I can access that. If not, there was like a little divot off the trail that started its own little trail that I think people use, but definitely looked less official. just exploring. Haven't stopped yet, haven't taken the camera out yet, but I'm definitely gonna at some point. Just nice to get out. Looks like maybe a big rabbit or something. Fitting, so close to Easter. Looks like he's been following this trail. I've seen these tracks for maybe about a quarter mile now, so wondering if I'll get to spot a rabbit. Maybe I should bust out the wildlife lens. Okay, so I have come to a fork in this trail, and the path forward for me has been chosen by water. That's a little more water on the trail than I want to risk. In fact, that looks like I'll break through and get wet. So we're gonna go left because we've actually kind of rounded that little extra lake now, and I'm thinking that that's actually gonna point us to that lake. I looked on Google Maps. I can see the outline of the trail and what I might be able to see. So I'm just curious how much it opens up and what access this trail gives me. So just gonna continue to explore. Let's go this way. Well, it's a clear part of the trail, but so far, no access at all. Very thick stuff surrounding me on both sides. I climbed elevation a little bit, and it looks like we're about to go back down now. So hopefully down towards some water. Okay, so what I had hoped would happen seems to be happening. I did come down, and it looks like we're much closer to this smaller lake, or either that or we've come back along Lake Angeline on the east end of it. But I'll turn you around and you can see what I see. It's through some trees, but it's promising. Okay, you might see that sliver of brightness back there. That is a lake covered in snow, and we are much closer to it now than we were about 10 minutes ago. So hopefully as I continue on this trail, we find something to allow us closer access. Oh my gosh, a third grouse. But it allowed me to walk right by him this time. The third one just flew off, and he didn't start flying until he was behind me. And he was only about 2 or 3 feet from me when he flew. So every time you get closer to these things, they're sizable animals. I mean, I guess the size of a big rabbit or something, but they're plump. And when they take off, they really have quite the impressive wing beat when you're close to them anyway. I got the heart pumping. 3 grouse sightings. I guess I'll take the big lens out. That's enough for me to finally stop and do something here. Okay, no wildlife to shoot so far, although I'm a little optimistic. But I did want to mention that I now have to my left Lake Angeline, and behind me back there somewhere is that other smaller lake. So this little trail allowed me to completely go around the east side of Lake Angeline and put me between the two, which could give me some serious opportunities, especially in the summer. Right now, it's all about scouting, just getting to understand the layout of the land. So far, so good. Okay, it looks like I might be coming to either the end of the trail or it just comes out towards the water Oh, this is exciting. So I don't know if you noticed, but it's a lot brighter. We're kind of in a clearing of some sorts, maybe some type of peninsula. But to my right now, there is a lake back there. But let's see, I'll turn you around and I'll talk you through what I'm looking at here. So now this is off to my right. That's probably some type of marsh. So there's ice you can see down there by that down tree, which could be really good stuff, especially if there's still water there in the summer. As long as that doesn't dry out, that could be a really good spot to sit down and watch. I've seen lots of little tracks. There's probably deer that come through here. And who knows what else. But this is really promising. It's only taken me about 1.5 miles or so now to get out here. Oh, look at that. That's neat too. So let's walk out here together and see what we see. Okay, so straight back across the lake is really close to where I parked. I can see the boat ramp, but you might not be able to see it on the phone. There's some really interesting trees that I'm probably going to photograph here. Maybe switch to the 50 mil. Maybe do some long exposure stuff, but it's so overcasty it might not even matter. This is a really cool spot though. Definitely coming back when it's warm and the wildlife really return. Yeah, so this is almost exactly what I was hoping for. Going off the left of that fork brought me all the way back out to Lake Angeline, and the trail just ends at a peninsula. And so 180 degrees left, forward, and right, I have access to water and I'm at the water level. That's really, really cool. I'm going to be able to see everything that flies in from west to east. If anything comes in from east to west, they'll fly over me. And I'm hoping that the water to my right and to my left are still enough and have what the wildlife are looking for me to find a spot, lay low, and do some shooting this summer. All right, so you guys know about the mini Presso. It's been a while since I've actually used it outdoors. I brought it to work one day to show some people, and everybody thinks it's pretty neat. And for what it is, as long as you supply it everything it needs, it makes pretty dang good espresso. You just only get a little bit at a time, but I think they have other products that have a bigger capacity basket, and I would love to check them out. So Wakako, if you're watching this, let's talk. Man, I knew when I was packing up, I thought there was something I'd forgotten. Just something. Got the hand grinder here. Jet boil. Mini Presso. I brought everything in the kitchen sink except for the beans. Oh my God. I can't believe I've done this. Well, my coffee-loving community, you gotta forgive me on this one. Believe me, I was excited. The mini Presso is actually impressive. I always love taking the jet boil. I love the hand grinder. I wouldn't do this on purpose, trust me. I don't know how I managed to get out of the house without actually bringing beans. I even talked about it in Nicaragua. I made the choice already, I just didn't put it in the bag. Huh. I prepped everything else. Guess I'm just gonna have some water. Good old water. Coffee anywhere is looking more like coffee nowhere. I guess it's back to the photography. If you find my misery enjoyable, hit that like button, subscribe for more misery. And I suppose I will finish out by maybe just montaging any photos I get from here on out. Thanks for watching. Sorry to disappoint, and I hope I'll do it again next time.